Hi, we're at the WHUD studios with Kacey Morabito Grion. And along with Mike Bennett, you have the most popular radio show in New York State.
Yay!
So congratulations.
Thank you very much, and thank you for saying my new last name correctly. You're like the first person to do that.
Oh, you're welcome. Now in April, you're going to be celebrating your 10th anniversary.
With Mike
Yes, with
on the
Mike.
radio.
But your history at WHUD and WLNA goes back further to the beginning of your career.
To the beginning of my life.
Okay. What was it like in those early years?
Oh my gosh. It's so fun to have a job for so long and to be with other people. Like Mike Bennett was there. I was his part-time news assistant when I started. I was his intern when I started, I think like 25 years ago. And along with Andy Bale, who came shortly thereafter, and Tom Fursey, who came a little bit later, and Steve Petrone, who's been our program director ever since those days, we're such a little family who can look back and say, remember when, fill in the blank, remember when we had records? Remember when we had reel-to-reel tape? Mm-hmm. Remember when you'd have to go out with a broom and get the snow off the disc? Well, I don't know what kind of a sphere in the back picking up a satellite feed, but if it got snow on it, I think it was for our news wire. We'd have to get the snow off that. Crazy things. We would have our Christmas parties in the owner's house because there were just so few of us. And now, of course, we're part of a greater radio family and we have Christmas parties in the catering hall. But it's so good to look back on those early days. And there's still so many of us still here.
And Mike had encouraged you to take a picture of your first paycheck.
He did. First, I was an intern for 3 months. I was in my third year of college. Can I tell you a quick story about that?
Sure.
I owe my entire radio career. Did you ever hear of J.P. McHale Pest Management?
Oh, yes.
Right? Big company in the Hudson Valley. I owe my entire career to Jimmy McHale. I was a waitress in Jeremiah's restaurant in Peekskill.
Oh, I remember that.
Remember that?
On Washington Street.
On Washington Street. It's now the Firehouse Grill. So I was waitressing there while I was going to college. Jimmy McHale's in the kitchen. He's still in high school. He's washing dishes. So every Sunday night, we had a frequent customer, and it was Jerry Desmond. Mr. and Mrs. Desmond would come in. They would sit at table 1, and Jerry every week would have a hamburger well done, nothing on it, and Coke, no ice. That's how I knew the man. So I'm, happily waitressing on a Sunday night, and Jimmy McHale in the kitchen says, "Do you know who that is at table 1? I said, "It's Coke, no ice. Jerry burger, well done, nothing on it." He says, "No, that's Jerry Desmond. He's the morning man for WHUD's sister station, the AM WLNA." I said, "Well, how do you know that?" He says, "Well, because he calls all the football games, the high school football games." And Jimmy McHale was a big high school football player. So I went over and I introduced myself. "Mr. Desmond, my name is Kacey, and I'm going to school for journalism and media." Well, actually, I just said, "My name is Kacey," and he said, "What school do you go to?" He knew it was coming. And I said, "I'm going to Mercy College for journalism and media. I'd love to look at the station one day." And he said, "If you're serious, be there tomorrow morning at 5:30.
Oh, that's
and
great.
I was like, "Sunday night? That's the night waitresses go out and party. I don't want to." But I got up, and at 5:30 in the morning, I had to ring the doorbell at the old WLNA building. And Mike came out of the newsroom, grouchy as a bear, like, "Who's ringing the doorbell at 5:30 in the morning?" And not much has changed, really. No. And he let me in, and I started an internship, thanks to Jerry Desmond. At the end of my internship, they hired me, and I had like this little desk in the newsroom, like a corner of a desk, and I would hang little pictures, and Mike Bennett would say, "Don't get too comfortable there." And I'd say, "But this is my workspace." And he'd say, "It's your temporary workspace. It's your part-time temporary workspace." And now, 25 years later, we're still sharing desks. So it's amazing.